Hi again, my name is Meralda and I am the co-founder and CEO of Melio AI. One of my core identity is a recovering data scientist. And for those of you who haven't heard of this term, it's referring to data scientists who were promised that they will have the sexiest career in 21st century, but end up getting their hopes and dreams smashed in their face by the world. And that's me. Because of this, we started Melio AI a few years ago to make AI frictionless. We help teams build data-intensive solutions with best data ops and ML ops practices so that the data scientists can go and chase their dreams while the business gets the return on investment that they're expecting. For this talk, I will walk you through the challenging history of data science teams and why businesses are investing so much into machine learning platforms today. Then I'll discuss 3 key challenges on how to get started with building an enterprise ML platform. Actually, this is not just for analytics, but the learnings can be applied to other enterprise platforms as well. And lastly, to summarize this, we created a playbook of if we were to start building another enterprise ML platform today, these are the steps that we would take. Let me start by giving you a history of how many data science teams in our client space were started. 5 to 10 years ago, business heard that data science is cool. So they either hire a data scientist or rebranded their BI or MI or analytics team into the data science team. And the data scientists dutifully build some really cool models while they struggle to get good quality data, struggle to put model into production, and struggle with the day-to-day operations. Regardless, these data scientists are smart and they made it work. They made business a lot of money and good return, and the business is very happy. Fast forward for some time, business is seeing a pretty good upside and decides to hire more data scientists to support more use cases. Because after all, if you hire one data scientist and you get 1 times the return, surely if you hire 5 times the data scientist, you get 5 times the return, right? Simple maths. Unfortunately, there is a diminishing in return when you're adding more people without providing them with a good collaborative process and tooling. The unit economic of this deteriorates, and the more models or people are added, the more frustration it actually has. The business then becomes increasingly frustrated, and a lot of vendors are born to capture the missed opportunity, right? And there is a gold rush in 2019 to 2021 for ML tooling. The vendors promise that the business will get easy integration, scalability, automation, all of the good stuff. And they promise that use me, and you shall see the light. There are 2 camps, actually, in this vendor ecosystem. The first type of vendor is, you can see there's that gold rush. It's too many icons, way too many icons. And these are all MLOps companies. But the first type of vendors specialize in solving very specific niche machine learning challenges. And these vendors are mostly being used in technology companies where the customers need to form a team and build out the best of breed machine learning platform that is tailored for their environment. And the second type of vendor provides the end-to-end machine learning platform that they promise to support the entire machine learning lifecycle. It is very grand, and obviously our AWS SageMaker is here. We're at AWS Summit, we have to point it out. SageMaker and other end-to-end ML platforms often promise 3 things: shortened development to production lifecycle, enhanced collaboration within the data science team, and optimized scalability for the machine learning workloads. The vendors promise that by using the machine learning platform, even though it might cost you a little bit more upfront, you can unlock tremendous value for your data science team. So instead of a linear growth, you get an exponential return. Even though these promises are all true, they don't necessarily arrive by default. Just because you move your model onto SageMaker doesn't mean that all of your problems are going to magically disappear. In fact, if it is managed poorly, you can create more problems. For the past couple of years, we built and used many ML platforms, and for the next couple of minutes, I'll share some of our learnings in the next couple of slides. I'll group these learnings into 3 sets of challenges, learnings, and benefits, and summarize the steps that we took in the end. For the first challenge in building enterprise ML platform is the lack of champions to drive adoption. Because ML platform is a tool, and a tool is meant to help people. If people don't find benefits in the tool, then they're not going to use it. It is especially difficult to drive adoption in an enterprise setting because most likely there is already an existing process, and the people who are supporting these existing processes usually have very demanding day jobs. They're not going to listen to you and be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to willy-nilly adopt another tooling or another process into my day job. So without a champion who intimately understands the existing ways of working, it's going to be near impossible to drive change. We were on a project in building out a data application for a data team. Our whole team has a MacBook, and we are very terminal driven. So during the development, we created this beautiful streamlined process to set up our environment, and we have all of the automation in place. But while we're handing over, the development phase is over, and we're handing it to the client, we realized that it's very difficult for the client's data team to onboard, adopt, and maintain the solution. And that's because there has been a communications breakdown between the client's DevOps chapter and the client's data chapter. And that happens almost exclusively in every client we have worked with. The DevOps chapter usually assumes too much engineering proficiency for their data team, and the data team is often being dumped with this really highly engineered solution that they don't know how to take forward. So what we did was actually, in the end, we went through a very painful but very successful change management process. And this is what we've learned. First is to interview the team who will be responsible in the ongoing development and maintenance of the platform, and identify at least one champion, just one is enough, that you can work very closely and make this person your superstar. Then build the solution with a very product-focused mindset. What this means is to ask about their existing process, prioritize the pain points, and show them value very quickly. One thing that we have learned that is quite useful is to set an adoption metric. And that means, for example, how many people have interacted with your platform daily or weekly, or maybe how many support tickets have you resolved daily or weekly. Then you can know if you are losing your users. If initial on-ramp is really high, then you stop getting user engagement, then it means your adoption has deteriorated. And lastly, it's not really the consultant's job, but we often inevitably do it because we have to help our clients become confident in developing a diverse set of skills that is required to support this very technically complex solution. And we do this by conducting regular demos, have knowledge sharing sessions, and many user feedback sessions so that we can gather requirements. And we can't really say it better than one of our clients' quotes, and this is quite verbatim. She said that before we weren't really sure what we're doing, and Melio showed us a way. And what she meant by showed us a way is that we gave them confidence so that they can take this process forward. The second challenge that we see a lot is the lack of standardization. Yes, even in end-to-end machine learning platforms like SageMaker, standardization doesn't come by default. And this is because vendors have designed the platform solution to be generic and flexible. Otherwise, they will have a support nightmare with lots of different instances of installation. So they find big design themes and recommend development patterns, but they don't enforce these patterns. And they leave it to the clients themselves to actually adopt it. Unfortunately, though, this flexibility leads to the misconception that these platforms comes with standardization baked in, and a lot of organizations actually invest in machine learning platform, and there's a persistent challenge of still projects not adhering to standards and the governance and the correct practices. So each project still starts from scratch, and they actually didn't utilize the benefits of creating a platform. Over the past couple of years, we have built an ML platform using open source tooling such as Kubeflow and the CNCF stack, and we have also used different vendor platforms like SageMaker, Azure ML, Databricks. And what we have learned is that for the clients, we always recommend and help them build out their technical artifacts. And there are 3 steps in building out their technical artifacts. The first one is to start by building a technical playbook. And what this means is that the playbook is a set of guidelines, best practices, instructions of how to start a new project using your ML platform. And it is a reference guide for your technical team, helping them navigate through very complex internal process, what is the correct forms that you have to sign for responsible AI, how do you make sure you're PUPI compliant, a bunch of these complex internal processes. So by doing that, then you can help similar problems being approached by different teams to have a standardized way of going forward. For example, Melio's technical playbook include development methodologies, system architecture design, security protocols and policies, toolings and configurations, and many more. And once the guideline is set, you can then build out a set of engineering templates. These templates are usually standardized and reusable blueprints or frameworks derived from the guidelines that you have put together. It provides a predefined structure and configuration for starting a new machine learning project on the platform. So for example, some of the engineering templates we have in-house include, for example, a cookie cutter GitHub repository for experimenting and developing generative AI use cases, or it can include CI/CD pipelines on a GitLab project. It can include a Terraform script. It can include model evaluation and monitoring templates, or it can even have responsible AI checks as a tick box exercise. And for the brave and the beautiful, we always recommend them to build internal software development toolkits, because data scientists are not software engineers. You shouldn't really let them faff around with secret management or like Kubernetes setting up. So having an internal SDK can help the data scientists to become more comfortable and safeguard them in running production workloads even in your environment. I once heard a senior data scientist said that in the beginning of a project, we just want to test the assumptions. If we spend too much time developing the peripheral stuff, it all ends up being a waste anyway. And for a moment, it sounds like it makes sense. But 2 things. Firstly, that's why so many projects have to be completely rebuilt when they're going into production. And number 2, if these templates have already been built and these artifacts are developed, then it will take 5 minutes for a data scientist to start using it for new projects. And it'll save them time from copy pasting from old repositories, because let's face it, we all do it. And the third challenge that we see for many data use cases is the difficulty in proving return on investment. There are 2 typical struggles in getting any data project off the ground. The first one is it's really difficult to justify investment for data science use cases, because unlike software use cases, data has a lot of maybes. Maybe we have enough data. Maybe our data is good enough to train a model. Maybe our model is good enough to beat our benchmark. But maybe is often not good enough when you want to secure budget from your leadership team. And the second challenge is that data science is mostly treated as a cost center instead of a profit center. Even though the data science team can improve the recommender system and make the company 20% more money, they're not usually rewarded because these metrics aren't really being measured and tracked. And in the end, it becomes really difficult to measure the value that the data science is to bring to the business. So the data science team struggle to get budget, or they have to get budget incrementally, and that really kills the momentum of these data initiatives. To help our clients motivate projects to their bosses, we decided to go a very data-driven approach and develop a framework to estimate and track the return on investment of these data initiatives. The first step that we took was to start with why. Align the project with a clear business metric. And this has to be a metric that the business cares a lot about. It can be average revenue per client, or it can be customer lifetime value. And once this metric is identified, start by putting down some assumptions and give an estimation for both the cost and the revenue. This can feel quite thumbsucky a lot of the times, but that's okay because that's the first step. Once these assumptions are noted down, we can at least have an expected number to beat. And we can also figure out what the business is expecting. Is it 5%, 20%, or 0.5%, right? Because that can completely change the narrative of our initiative. And then the last step is actually to export all the data points that is necessary to calculate this metric throughout your entire project lifecycle. So for example, if you think that this project is going to break even in 6 months, then in 6 months, we must track it. Or this project is going to make $2 million in 12 months, then we must also track it. So what we did was we embed a lot of these data points and make sure that in, for example, a recommender system, we know exactly what the lift is, and it can be almost put into the monthly reporting every month. It is quite a data engineering intensive process, but once you have it, it's very difficult for the business to say, no, I don't trust your numbers. And the benefits of this is quite clear. The first one is we can have a set of clear financial impact on this initiative. If it is making money, double down. If it is losing money, then kill it early. And with an estimation of an ROI, it's much easier for the senior leadership to motivate for budget. And a very unexpected benefit that we obtained from a client engagement is that since we put this in place, the initiative got upgraded from an IT project to a strategic project. So it's always good to align a data initiative to a business strategy because business projects always has more money. And to summarize, if you want to build an enterprise machine learning platform today, this is how we would start. First, start with a product mindset. Define success metrics for your platform adoption. Then define the metrics and mechanisms to track and measure your return on investment. Then secondly, build a team with diverse skill sets to support this very technically complex solution. And next is to create a user group and select champion users and never stop gathering feedback. Keep asking them what's working, what's not working. Then next, design the playbook and guidelines based on your user requirements, but also very importantly, your internal governance process, so that your data scientists don't have to navigate these every single time. Then build out the technical artifacts to improve your efficiency and increase collaboration between your different teams. And lastly, it's not possible to just build and forget, so we have to keep measure and keep improving based on the user feedback and check our adoption rates and metrics. And this is the Melio promise. Melio promised that if you adopt these 6 steps to build out an enterprise ML platform, you can unlock the exponential value for your data team. If you have any questions around data ops, ML ops, DevSecOps, you can come chat to us at our booth G12, and let's make AI frictionless together. Thank you.